Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little differently. It's May, so it's Lyme Awareness Month, and I thought it would be important to have a conversation with my wife, bring my wife on. If you're lucky, you'll see her in a lot of future episodes as well. But for today, I really wanted to address something I've been seeing a great deal in the forums, in the Lyme community, even some of the stuff in the comments below the videos, which is that people with Lyme disease tend to end up having a lot of interesting issues in their family, with their partner, with their friends. And this is a lot of what people that are going through Lyme disease have to deal with, is that it changes their relationships. They become very different. It's not always what the other person signed on for. So I thought, we might be able to talk about this, and I think it's even more important to hear from Heather's perspective as someone who does not have Lyme, dealing with someone who does, what some of the stages that we've gone through are, maybe some of the things that we've come across that we can share, and very much in the hopes that this contributes to other people that have Lyme, because we don't have the pink ribbons, we don't have the marathons, we don't have the awareness. There's not a lot of understanding of what Lyme even is. I mean, there's some people that are out there still, even including certain government agencies like the IDSA, who are actively putting out campaigns saying that this is not a real thing. And here's a great excerpt from Patrick Plum, a fellow Lyme podcaster, that really puts you in the shoes of someone with Lyme disease. Take a listen.
So I kind of wrote this little story that kind of describes somebody going through something tough. So you go to bed a healthy, normal person, and then I want you to picture one day that you wake up and that you're thirsty, and water doesn't help quench your thirst, and you're hungry, and food doesn't fill your stomach or satisfy you. You get tired, and you think you can go to sleep for that, and you never feel rested. You start to get dizzy spells, and sitting down doesn't help. You're in pain, and you get no relief with drugs. You get cold, and bundling up and turning on the heat doesn't help. You get hot, and air conditioning and fans don't help. Your body starts to get confused. You feel like death, and you're panicking. You work out, but it doesn't make you stronger like it used to. You just keep getting weaker and weaker until the point where you can't work out. You start losing control of your body with twitching and shaking, and you actually even get to the point where you're afraid to go to sleep, because sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night feeling terrible. So you decide to go to the doctor, and they can't find any reasons. They say it's all in your head, or you're told how you feel can't happen, and that what you have doesn't exist. So they deny that you even have a problem. So you didn't ask for this, and you didn't do anything to deserve it. You were always healthy, energetic, and happy. You ate right and you exercised. And now you're always tired, sick, and people don't understand you, to the point where people start leaving. They don't ask questions. Friends say you look fine, you look healthy, and they don't believe you at all. They say that you're acting weird now, and so you're isolated. So what am I describing? A lot of people would say, well, that's a nightmare or a horror movie, or that's like a scary story. And no, that's most people's experience with Lyme disease.
I think ground level, we have to cover, this is real. You can put the bacteria, the bugs under a microscope, you can test for it, you can find their DNA. If you want to see the methods that I've used to get well, if you want to see, there's a 6-minute brief on Lyme if you're really new to the topic. I even have one about my year of diagnostic, like how long it took me to realize that all these funky symptoms were Lyme disease, what it was, and then, of course, the ensuing research. So, bare bones, coming from the understanding that Lyme is real, which for some people is a leap. There's this whole mentality that maybe the person is faking it, and that's something we'll talk about too. But anyway, this is my wife, Heather, and I thought we'd introduce her and have her go ahead and talk a little bit about maybe the stages.
Yeah, and really, at least our intention is that hopefully us sharing the stages that we went through will help you in your journey. And I realize everybody's journey is completely unique, but I just was thinking back to the stages we went through, and I just wish somebody had shared with me a little bit of the landscape, so I had a roadmap of what was possibly coming, and it would have helped me navigate. So that's my intention of sharing for sure for you today. So when we look back, the stages there were stages that Siren was going through, but I went through stages as well. And at first we were trying to figure out what was going on, like Siren said, for a really long time, and that was excruciating.
So the WTF phase.
Yeah.
Like
what is
all
going
these crazy
on?
symptoms.
Yeah, and you go to 50 doctors.
Is this in your head?
Yes.
All the people telling you, oh, I had, I just took a week off from work and I was fine. I went through something like that.
Yeah, and the same thing for me. What is going on? And there was nothing I could do to help. We would keep going to different doctors, and you'd have hope, and then it was crushed, and you'd try something else, and it was crushed, and just really, really, there's that sense of don't know what's going on, and then you start to think you're crazy. You start to think, I really did think Siren was crazy, and then I thought I was crazy for thinking Siren was crazy, and then I thought the doctors were, you just start to question sanity at that point.
Because, of course, the doctors, as most people know, they don't tell you. I mean, most of them don't even acknowledge that there are tests that properly can diagnose it. Half of them are worse than, the parents that think, oh, it's in your head, go home.
Right.
So, yeah, right out of the gate, we come into a world where it doesn't exactly acknowledge its existence. There's not awareness. And you can feel very isolated and very alone. And that is, by the way, another intention, is that you're not alone. This is, at least consider this a source community to whatever degree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there was the stage where we finally figured out, you finally got a diagnosis after so many conversations with so many different doctors, and finally got the right test, which you can see on Siren's podcast. And I think that will save a lot of people a lot of time with that. But then there's the realization that there's nothing in the regular Western medical world that cures this. And then the repercussions of that are devastating, just personally trying to deal with that. And then dealing with, once you know what it is, no one believes you in your community, right? Nobody, there's no awareness. There's just not a lot of, if there is even awareness,
people don't know how to relate to it.
Yeah.
At some point I decided I needed to stop sharing much about what was going on with me with my family. We were never, in my family, we were never sort of culturally, we were never big at sharing. If you had health issues, it was more a private matter, which is really great in a lot of ways. It's not like you call your parents. It's not like, hey, what's going on, Mom? My hip,
Right.
But it also had this other side to it where this is now changing my life, and wow, my parents, I don't know how much of this they want to hear. I don't know how much and telling them isn't making me feel better. It's certainly not making them feel better. And just like you said, watching somebody that you can't, I think the thing for Lyme people to get is that the helplessness, right? Like if anything happens to her, like if she stubs her toe, I just feel it like, it's like a gut thing. Like it just hurts you to see someone else in pain and not be able to do anything about it. Well, imagine Lyme. Imagine this, like the depression, the artificial depression, right? The things eating the serotonin receptors in your brain and changing your thought patterns and all that. And you're undergoing these changes, and your partner absolutely can be mystified by this. And so it's important to realize that there's kind of there's this thing that's going on in our bodies, and then there's also the way that we project outwardly, and we have to be responsible, to whatever degree we possibly can. Everybody's in a different place with Lyme, but to what degree we can be responsible that we don't completely blow up our spouses. I feel like I interrupted something you were about to say, too.
I think you're right on, because there's that point also where before we started getting traction with any different treatments, that there was just nothing I could do. And I got so frustrated. And I just thought, God, if we talk about Lyme one more time, and then I felt so bad that I was thinking that. So I was upset at Siren, and then I was upset at me for being upset with you. You're sick. Yeah. And it got to the point of just sheer insane. I felt I was insane for being upset with you and then being upset with me. And then there was a moment that I realized that I was fighting you, and I was fighting me, and I was fighting the wrong people. I really needed to be fighting Lyme. And that for me was the step where you started the podcast, we started sharing with our friends. And for me, when I had a mission to crack open consciousness for people and just share so that people like us know you're not alone, that really started to nourish my spirit again. And that was everything for me. That was the turning point. And I think for you, the journey may look different, the stages may look different. Maybe you had a much longer period of time with symptoms. Ciaran's symptoms progressed very, very quickly, very, very intense symptoms. And so everything can look different. I know it'll be unique, but I know that the moment that made all the difference for me was when we decided to fight Lyme and decided to fight Lyme together and decided to help people know more about it and use this experience to help other people. And if I could just give that and share that with you, that you don't have to fight Lyme. You can find your own passion in your life, but finding that and putting energy into that will give your spirit energy back. And so it will nourish you in that way, so that no matter what's going on in your body, no matter if you are in ease or in dis-ease in your physical body, finding that passion again, I think, was so critical for me, and I saw it for you too. It really brought you back energetically. And so if I can give people that piece of it from our experience, that would be incredible.
Yeah, even the podcast, like I started the podcast because my life had changed. There was a big downshift in my energy. So there was a downshift in my work output, and I'd had the domain name Know How Things Work for I don't know how many years before. And then when this happened, it was like, okay, well, I guess it's time to start this up. So by the way, we'll get into, there are positives. There are positives if you can identify them, and we'll show you where we found positives in this, and of course a lot of negatives that come with it too. But what she addressed also is important, because I never want to be the Lyme guy. Like, I don't want my videos, I don't want to be out there as like the Lyme guy. I don't identify as a Lyme person, and it's a slippery slope, right? Because you have to, or it's a tenuous balance between not identifying as the disease, but also being available to in the communities to talk with other people about it. And of course, you have to get through it, but not necessarily being the sick guy around all your friends. So it's that delicate balance. I think it's part of the power of being listened to as well, finding the right places to be listened to and to be heard and to share your experiences, because it's very powerful, very, very empowering to just be heard, right? And I don't want to blow her up with every little symptom that's going on, because our temptation, and by the way, as you with Lyme know, the symptoms change sometimes hourly, right? Sometimes, certainly daily, certainly weekly. Something that's going on, you want to share about it. It's just interesting and weird, and sometimes it's horrible and painful. But I realized that my wife can't do anything about it. So it's important that I get heard, but also that I not exactly inundate her with all of the negativity of it. Finding those communities, finding those places where you can share, where you can be heard, and that's the Lyme forums. That's other friends that are not exactly well. People that enjoy sharing that, and also enjoy sharing solutions. I think if you can find people that are not only committed to sharing the information that's going on, but sharing it to learn and grow, because we really are. We're on our own finding the answers out there. There's a kind of a good side to that too, right? With the mainstream institutions in Western medicine, we see that they've been looking for a cure for cancer since about the 30s or 40s, and it's just a few billion more dollars and they'll be right there. But if you want your mind blown, watch the 9-part series, The Truth About Cancer, and you will see that there is not a cure for cancer. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of amazing cures for cancer found by medical personalities and all that, but there's so much money. So right now, we're empowered to find the solutions on our own for this. Anyway, that's another mindset change too, is that we have to self-empower. Mm-hmm. And the podcast was one way that I did that for myself, was that I could project a lot of the information that I was learning and try and help some other people shorten the timeline maybe to finding their own solutions.
And I think for me, the solutions that Ciaran's found, whether that's just turning the breaker off in our bedroom at night, they've made me more healthy. So for me, there was I don't know, it was a couple months ago, I realized I was actually grateful that we've been through this experience, which was mind-blowing because I was for the last few years, I've really been so mad about this situation and frustrated and hated Lyme. And I was actually grateful for the experience because Ciaran's not the same person that he was before Lyme. And I'm so grateful that I get to live with this amazing human being. But beyond that, all these tips and tricks have helped make my life better and have helped make me healthier. And I'm actually on the other side of that, of being grateful. So I do want to let you know that there's hope, that that even though you're going through this experience or you're seeing your partner go through this experience, find people that you can reach out to as well, and then nourish yourself. So, as you're supporting your partner, you're going to get more healthy. And I've learned to actually give myself a lot of space and time to rejuvenate so that I have the energy that I can give and support Ciaran when he needs it too. So it's a journey, and I just want to leave you with that there is hope, and I hope you find the way through it for yourself. It's been awful and incredible, and you can find both sides of it.
And that's, what she's addressing too, I think is a huge, it's kind of a strange, interesting positive that comes out of this, but you will find those people, and you have to find those people that are committed to your well-being. So there are the naysayers. There are the people, you're faking it. There's even a domain name or a Facebook page for Lyme called "But You Don't Look Sick." And look, I've heard everything that you've heard as well, right? So I've heard all the same things, that it's in your head and think positive and all that, and yeah, you should be doing that as well. But unfortunately, again, that's the balance, is not identifying as sick, but also realizing there is something very serious going on here.
Yeah.
And there's a great TED Talk, and I'll put the link in the show notes for it as well, but about the lady who lost her father to Lyme, and how since nobody knows what Lyme is, if she had told, how's your father? And if she said, he's got cancer, they all well up with tears. Oh, what can I do for you? Anything you need? And well, he has Lyme disease. And they give a confused look, and then they go, well, at least it's not cancer. So I'll put that link in the show notes. But there will come a reckoning with your, I don't know how else to say it. I don't mean to be dramatic, but there will be people in your life that will probably go by the wayside, and we have to do that. We have to make those choices, and it could be siblings or friends. And again, it's not about throwing people out. We have to be responsible. They have lives, and they can't identify.
It's just spending more time with the people who are on your side and positive for you and nurturing for you, and then realizing that everybody else, for me, I was just realizing other people are just stuck in a different stage. Yeah. They're at the disbelief stage, or they're at the what the heck stage, or they're at the I can't help stage. And I let them be. I actually I loved them where they were at for that, because even if they're in any stage and interacting with me, they've got to have some amount of connection to me and connection to you. And instead of cutting them off or being upset with them, I realized that's just the stage they're at. And I've been at that stage, and I resisted that stage too. So it gave me a lot of compassion for everybody in my life, and focused more energy towards the people that were willing to upgrade their consciousness, were willing to open up to this possibility, and that were willing to give support and energy. So and because it changes your life, you'll meet incredible people through this, because you have to be around this caliber of people that really are about helping others and helping you, and working with your mission. And it's a positive. I think it's really a positive, and it doesn't always feel like it at the time, right? Because some of the people that I considered very close got kind of morose during this period, got a little distant, and didn't quite know what to make of it. And so when when some of those people check in that I kind of know aren't really on the same page with me, I don't share a whole lot about this stuff. I just kind of share as their friend, as their buddy Ciaran, and not really so much as hey, they're like, what are you going, what's going on? And I want to tell them about all the research and all this, and it's they don't, they're not in that world. They want to talk about their favorite TV shows, and have at it. I can do that for a little bit, but it sure makes you find important conversations and important people, and it's a very good positive. And I even found that the slowing down
because Lyme takes you out of life. There were 6 or 7 months there where I couldn't stay awake for very long, couple hours, and then I couldn't sleep for very long. So I was not at all in the cycle of the rest of the people on Earth. The work cycle, the awake at day and all this kind of stuff. I was awake half of the night. And it's definitely a slowdown period, and I used it as an opportunity to learn all the things that I wanted to learn, pick up books, just read and research and look out there for what's going on and ask some of the more important questions about, not only what it takes to heal, but some of the things I wanted to know about. And I found that there are a lot of people. I found my parents in that too. Like when I slowed down and had conversations with my parents, all of a sudden I was operating more at a speed they're comfortable with and not the nuclear siren speed that I had been going at most of my life. There will be certain relationships that may blow up, and there will be relationships that just solidify during this process. And I'm very grateful so Heather and I, we've been together forever. We met just right after college. And in fact, we met shortly after we had both done a thing called the Landmark Forum, which, if you don't know about this, it's absolutely I'd say for both of us. We did it separately. I was living in Detroit. She was living in Colorado. So we met. We had just both turned out to have done it right around the same time. But it just sorts you out about these things. I mentioned it in my Longer Lyme podcast, but it's absolutely been essential to having kind of getting the drama out of the way of who we are and getting really fundamental about what we're committed to and kind of conquering just about anything. It's really an inquiry into how life works, and it's all stolen from ancient East and yoga and all this kind of other stuff. So none of it's particularly new, but the way it's put together. So I attribute a lot of success in our relationship to that. And then when we came across Lyme, we once again were like, "Ooh, this was a whole new level." Yes. So, but it's turned out to really strengthen it. So I've found that to be awesome, and a whole new level of depth in the conversations I have with my male friends, with all my friends as well, that it really has kind of added a new layer. Anything else we should add? That's our experience with it.
Yeah, we hope that you travel through quickly as well, and that you find health, and that you find
there are
a great
solutions.
Community.
Yes, there are solutions.
Watch Siren's other podcasts on that. There are solutions out there that will help you feel better. And just for the people who are supporting people going through Lyme, make sure you take care of yourself, because you are and the other side of it is you can do this. At times, I know it's so frustrating, and it feels like that you want to throw the towel in, and you absolutely can do it. You can get through. You can help your partner find health again, and you can find happiness in life, in a life that's really worth living, that you can thrive inside of, even as you're going through the disease. So if I could just share the last thing of, you really can do this, and connect underneath in the show notes and find the support for you as well. But it's possible, and we wish that for you.
And the last thing I'll leave you with, I think this is probably a good note to leave them on, but I played this at the end of my long Lyme podcast, which, by the way, there's a part 2 coming. So that last one I put out just shortly under a year ago, and I'm doing a second follow-up with a lot of being able to follow up some of the therapies I was doing and reveal what's working and what's not working, and also some other really great new stuff that I'm trying out that seems to be helping quite a bit. So that's forthcoming as well. But a tradition I started many years ago is on Valentine's morning, as a musician, waking up and writing a song for Heather. And the songs are intended to be very authentic. They're not necessarily just pillow talky, "Hey, I love you." They're not replacing the Hallmark cards. They're supposed to be a snapshot of exactly where we are. Just kind of a little practice I have as a songwriter. And so I want to share with you the song, Heaven Help Me Now, which again I played at the end of the Lyme podcast video, but it was a song I wrote for her right really in the heat of battle. It was actually before I had my diagnosis, when we were really in the throes of the WTF phase and all that. Yeah. And you can hear in the lyrics even the addressing the notion of, if I could, sing sweet medicine in your ear, the idea that anything, that it would take that sense of helplessness on the one side of can't do anything for me, and then what's going on the other side of it as well to how do we get through this? So hopefully you can identify with this, and we'll leave you with that and some positive vibes. And you're not alone. You're really not alone. And in fact, we've identified a couple of our dear friends in the last week that have Lyme disease. There are going to be a lot of us going through this. Hang in there. Find the people. There's a time to heal. This is a time to heal. That's it for us.
We wish you well.
Thanks for watching, and here's Heaven Help Me Now. It's about having a rough year, and it seems to be a theme running throughout my community, my friends and family. So this is for all of us. Many years have come and gone. Remember everything. Can't remember yesterday. So take me from the razor's edge before I slip away. Before I slip away. The dream is fading fast as the light comes in the room. You're still there. The screaming never stopped. It just buried in my head like a nightmare. And you're still there. Life will make a mess of plans. Take a bow to yesterday out of my hands.